Howdy, howdy, y'all, cowboys and cowgirls. Welcome back to another episode of Disattractions. Yeehaw!
That's right. Yeehaw. Welcome back to another episode of Disattractions. I believe this is number 14. Which is crazy. We have 14 episodes. We're getting to that 15 episode mark here soon.
Yeah.
But hope you guys are doing well. And in today's episode, we are going to continue the early 90s, or not early, like late 90s to early 2000s theme park that we were started in the last episode, except now we're moving from movies to live action TV shows.
Yeah.
So that's the idea here. We're calling the park, or the area of the park, We Do It Live.
Much like Bill O'Reilly did on Fox News.
Exactly. We do it live.
We do it live. We do it live. Action. And we have a little parentheses to say action.
Action.
Action live. Action.
But this whole theme of the area of the park is going to be a general theme of like not New York, but like a city skyline or something around that point, because every single one of those shows kind of takes place in a urban city.
Yeah.
So it's a common through line that you could theme it around. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a big chunk of it, because our audience, actually, I was looking at it, and it was like 23 to 27-year-old people listen to our podcast. So I'm sure most of you out. Huh?
I said, "Hey JJ, what's up?"
Hey JJ, what's up?
Or Sean, right?
Or Sean, yeah, Sean listens to it very. But if that's the case, then there's a pretty good chance that you've probably watched a lot of these TV shows that we're going to discuss in this episode today.
At least one.
Yeah, at least one. At least you've heard about it.
What were you doing as a kid? Going outside and playing in the park? Come on.
Come on, man. Has Bluey taught you nothing? You're supposed to watch TV and play with your Chattermax.
Yeah, exactly. Play with your Chattermax is a wild sentence.
I know. Bluey taught me how to play with my Chattermax.
Oh. You know what? You know who else played with their Chattermax? Grimace during the Blooper 42.
Oh my gosh, you have to shovel in that every single time. Oh my gosh, it's never gonna go away. It's never gonna go away.
Okay.
Moving on from the Blooper 42. I guess we can go on to the next structured area of what we normally talk about, is our familiarity of the topic. How familiar with the TV are you with the TV shows that we're going to discuss today?
There might be a topic.
You're right, Brett. There might indeed be a topic we'll talk about today.
I meant to phrase it. There might be a topic. I'm sorry.
You're good.
I'm sorry. Let me go back.
There might be a topic this episode, folks. Riveting stuff.
No, I was saying, I don't know if I'm more qualified ever for any other topic that we've ever discussed than these shows, because I've seen them all multiple times. You know how some people rewatch The Office 5 times because it's just familiar to them.
Yep.
So after a while, they just have it on in the background.
Yep.
That is what I am like with a lot of these shows.
That's what I know a lot of people are for The Office, Parks and Rec, and Friends. Friends is a big one from a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people just think the friends are their friends, that's kind of how it works, and so they just watch those episodes on repeat. I never cared about any of those shows.
Yeah, but you did care about iCarly, though.
I cared about iCarly and Drake and Josh and Good Luck Charlie and Wizards of Waverly Place, and I've seen these shows inside and out. Even as we were discussing the themed lands, I knew the specific names of the places that they went to and different bits, because I've seen these things so much.
He also knows last names.
I mean, I know that show inside and out at this point.
Yeah. That's good. Honestly, these first 2 episodes for this park are in your favor. You know a lot more, I think, than me. When it comes to late 90s, early 2000s or kids sitcoms. I guess that's the way to put it. I'm familiar with iCarly. I'm familiar with The Sweet Life. I'm familiar with.
iCarly was more like late 2000s to early 2010s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Sorry,
guess,
I didn't interrupt you, but
no,
it
you're
wasn't
good.
like, yeah.
I honestly don't think there was really too many early 90s in general live action kid shows. It really did start with.
It was kind of the Amanda Show
Yeah.
era, and then that spun off into Drake and Josh at around 2001.
Yeah. I know Zoe 101 was pretty early too.
I think Zoe 101's like 2003. That one's okay.
I don't know TV as much as other people do, but I've watched iCarly. I've watched Wizards of Waverly Place. But I always never, like, if it was Nickelodeon, iCarly was on, I would have been like, I don't want to watch that. That's not SpongeBob. That was my mindset back then, because I wasn't into a live action stuff. I then got into it later and probably watched it on Netflix, and where you binge watch it, you don't have to wait for an airing of it. But when I was a kid, if I was going to watch a TV show, it was most likely a cartoon. So SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents, all Cartoon Network shows. That's what I'd go on. So if I saw iCarly on it, I'd probably hop to Cartoon Network. But
I mean, that's fair. I just liked all of it, I guess. Well, that's not true. There was certain shows I was like, nope. But like, because like Cartoon Network, I was going there for Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, and that was on.
mm-hmm.
Boom, I was there.
Mm-hmm.
That show was the bomb. It was still the best. But
It
for
is
whatever
good.
reason, as a child, I didn't really get into Chowder or Flapjack.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever like Adventure Time regular show came out, like that was my stuff. Like that was an era.
Yeah.
But like I didn't really love Chowder or Flapjack. And then in college, I discovered both of those shows and realized, wait, these are hilarious. Why didn't I?
They
get
are
this?
hilarious.
Like, they're really good.
Flapjack's actually slept on. Chowder's gotten a revitalization in the last couple of years. I feel like there's been a lot more love for Chowder.
Yeah.
But Flapjack out of nowhere is like, don't take this as a bad show, but it's grotesque. The way its the art is, the way its themes are, it's like comedically grotesque.
Well, it's an amazing. And do you know that's like, do you know all the people who worked on Flapjack?
I might not. I don't know.
So, some of the people that worked on Flapjack include J.Q. Quintel, who went on to a regular show.
Yep.
Pendleton Ward, who went on to do Adventure Time, and Alex Hirsch.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's a few other people on it too, but it's like the Avengers of cool people who make cartoons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
It's a good show.
Yeah.
Knuckles is my favorite characters, isn't it? Knuckles.
Yeah. His voice actor is Bill Murray's older brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Or younger, something like that.
I always thought is that same person voiced the Flying Dutchman, because they have very similar voice actors.
I don't know actually.
Whenever I listen to the Flying Dutchman from SpongeBob, I always thought of Knuckles, and vice versa. Whenever I heard Knuckles, I always thought of Flying Dutchman, because they're very similar.
It's literally the same person.
That's what I thought. I was like, I made a guess.
Yeah, Brian Dole Murray.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he's definitely. I believe he's older than Bill, so he's the older brother.
Gotcha.
Do you remember that sitcom, The Middle?
Kind of, yeah.
He was a car salesman in The Middle. We should do a ride about The Middle. I could do that pretty well too.
Should do a ride.
That for some reason.
That's funny.
Anyway,
but that's side tangent over. I guess that the whole point of that was that Brett's probably going to be more informational about these than I would be this time around, but I still know some stuff. So moving on again to the area like I've talked about, again, a city skyline really does tie together most, if not all of these IPs well, because again, all of them take place in usually either a big city or a city adjacent, and that's kind of something where it's like you don't really see too many sitcoms that happen outside of a city or in a suburb. Usually they all happen within a suburb or a city. which is right. I'm trying to think.
Yeah,
You don't have very many country sitcoms.
except for like Big City Greens, I guess that cartoon. But like other than that,
Right.
or The Middle, but like that's different.
So again, having that like a city skyline would work, and also because it's like, think of it like Universal Studios, like New York area. If you've ever been to Universal Studios Orlando, where like when you walk in the area with Jimmy Fallon, um, you know, bless our Lord for making Jimmy Fallon. Um,
So Jimmy Fallon was on an episode of iCarly, so we could just take the Jimmy Fallon ride and put it.
I guess you're right, dude. He would be on an episode of ICarly.
Yeah, he's like a really. Do you remember that episode at all?
Probably not. I don't know.
So the episode is iCarly gets invited to go on the Jimmy Fallon show. They're like hyped about it, and they go on the show. Gibby's luggage gets lost on the
Yeah,
flight,
checks out.
and so he has to like buy new clothes for the show, and so he does, and then they do a dancing bit, and when they dance, his pants fall off, and he flashes at everyone on live TV. I kid you not, this is the plot of the episode, and so then the television censors are trying to like sue them for $500,000 for negligence claims, and they have to pay it or else they'll shut down iCarly. Dude, it's crazy.
That's a weird episode.
It just literally comes out of nowhere. Like,
So Dan Schneider was freaking creepy as hell, and he's not a good person, but man, he could write TV shows.
yeah, it sucks too, because like looking
Mhm.
back at it, you're like, dude, this is so funny.
Mm-hmm.
Sucks that that dude is bad.
I know. He's a good writer, but an awful person.
Yeah.
But see what Jimmy. So yeah, so think about the New York area of Universal Studios, like like the Jimmy Fallon ride, the Mummy, Jason Bourne, where it used to be. I think Jason Bourne shut down recently.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's in running anymore. From what I know, I don't know. I might be wrong about that. But that whole area, so it's like has like faux buildings, like skyscraper buildings. I think that'd be a cool whole area to have. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But going on, we only have 2 attractions, but we have quite a bit to cover. And the first one is like the most well-known children's sitcom ever known to man. Of course, we just talked about it. iCarly.
Yeah.
That is like the biggest one, I want to say.
I'd say so. It's interesting how it hit. Because like Drake and Josh came out, and that show was huge, a great hit for Nick. People loved it. It concluded, and essentially they were like, let's just pull 2 of our stars from Drake and Josh and put them in a new sitcom, and then put some other people in with them, and then it's iCarly. And then iCarly was maybe even a bigger hit. I mean, it was to the point where they were just, every episode they had some sort of new celebrity on. You're like, all right, it's crazy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think also what I guess this is from my perspective. Also, what made it so easily more watchable is that it had some sort of structure. Not saying that Drake and Josh didn't have structure, but iCarly was usually recording an episode of something to put on her website every single episode, and you're somewhat of like you could expect something out of it, but at the same time you would never expect what that structure is gonna like. The structure stays similar, but it's all over the place at the same time. It's also the actors, how they portray. I mean, you know, like Miranda Cosgrove did a good job. Of course, Jerry Trainer absolutely takes the cake in my opinion. He's my favorite character. Also, Jerry Trainer is just a really cool guy. So, like, I have all the respect for Jerry Trainer. He was basically the Jim Carrey of Nickelodeon.
Yeah. I also just, like, very much relate to Spencer as a character, which is, I think, another reason why I resonate to iCarly so much.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely have, like, I've had people in my life tell me I have Spencer vibes, and I get it. Every time I watch that show, I'm like, oh, yeah, for sure. He's like it's interesting because like a lot of people think that like he's like this crazy nut, and he is. But like when you watch back through the show, it's like he has inherently good value structure, and he's actually kind of responsible for Carly. And it's I don't know, he's a cool character. He's very nice.
Yeah,
We love Spencer.
yeah, he's really cool. I think everyone agrees that he is a good character and maybe one of the best of the show, if not the best of the show.
Yeah, him and Gibby.
Yeah, Gibby just also steals it. There's this thing trending on Instagram where it's just literally that one episode where like this woman traps iCarly and Sam in her basement, or Carly and Sam in her basement, and then Gibby has to go and freaking fight her.
Yeah.
But like it's like all fast forwarded, and it's like just random music every single time. So last time I had it to like Linkin Park. It was just like them fighting at like 2 times speed.
Have you seen the like memes of like someone throwing Spencer across the room?
It's just playing like Coldplay or something, or
he crashes into a table.
Was it Coldplay or something plays? I forget what the name of the band is. It might have been. Yeah, it was Kings of Leon. I've been looking around, I was looking down at all I see. He's actually, Jerry Trainer has seen those, and he's commented how it's really funny.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. That dude is a little like, I don't know if I would call him chronically online, but he's definitely online.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's
seen it. Looking down for all I see.
Somebody. Can we do a Kings of Leon ride?
Yep.
We are the kings and queens that I promise. Is that them too, or is that a different band?
I don't remember, dude. We're still on iCarly here, so we have a ride to do.
Oh yeah. Can we one day? Sorry, complete subteam. Legends of the Guardians Alza Gahul ride.
What is that?
You don't know what Legends of the Guardians Alza Gahul is?
That sounds like a lot.
Bro, who are you? I was kidding. Dude, that series in 6th grade was like as popular at my school than like Percy Jackson and Harry Potter. Like people
what?
Owls of Gahul. Legends of the Guardians Owls of Gahul. They literally even made a movie.
Legends of Guardians.
Legends of the Guardians Owls of Gahul.
Oh shit. Let me see.
They made an animated movie that's literally directed by Zack Snyder. I kid you not.
I've never seen this before.
You've never heard of this?
Mm-mm.
Bro.
It's not like there's like it's not Guardians, but there's like there was a series of books that were like cat books that my middle school was obsessed with. Warriors, that's what it was.
Yeah,
it wasn't Guardians.
It's similar to Warriors. This is, but it's like a series. It's not.
That's the one that was popular in my school was Warriors.
That was pretty popular too, but it wasn't Legends of the Guardians.
I've never seen this. Wild. What does this have to do with iCarly?
It came out around the same time. It's very nice.
I was like, what does that do with iCarly? Anyways, Brett, do you want to take it away with explaining the iCarly ride and what the idea that we have?
Yeah. So, as a lot of people know, one of the main antagonists of iCarly is a little kid named Neville Papperman. In episode 4 of the series, they try to get Neville to write a review of their site on Nevelocity.com, and then he invites Carly over, and then tries to kiss her, and she's like, "You know," and then he venges for them to rue this day. Remember Rue This Day? Do you remember that, Kevin?
Like from the show?
Yeah, like
I remember the whole iCarly kissing him. I don't remember this or he was trying to kiss iCarly.
Yeah, but like, do you remember if people would say "rue" for everything after that episode? Like, you rued this day. Or
yeah, dude, I didn't look that deep into it, dude. Like, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I need to rewatch it. Maybe there's a sign I need to rewatch it.
Spaghetti tacos.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so Neville became their enemy, and he was a consistent fixture through the rest of the show. Like, he would just show up in some episodes and try to come up with another scheme to stop the iCarly gang. And it's kind of funny because like after the show was over, he would like be going to college, and people would walk up to him and be like, "You'll rue this day," and he'd be like, "Bro, I'm not Neville Pap. I'm just going to school." But anyway, but he even showed up in the sequel series, which is interesting. But
Is the one that's like R-rated?
It's not
PG-13.
No, it's a little more adult
Or whatever.
But
I heard it's bad though.
I watched the first season and it was fine. It has good moments in it. For me, I was like expecting it to be a -5 out of 10.
Uh-huh.
It was more like a 5 out of 10.
Is that worse or better?
Honestly, better because it still had moments that were actually pretty funny. So.
Gotcha. Because I know some people value really, really purposefully bad stuff more than they value mid stuff.
Totally, I get that. But with this case, I was
Pleasantly
surprised by like, how much I enjoyed it, even though it's not great.
Gotcha.
Anyway, I never watched season 2. That tells you anything. But of the new series, at least, season 2 of the old series is a masterpiece. Anyways, in this ride, iCarly has built their first roller coaster in their apartment, and they want you to ride it. And so they're filming the webcast, and they're like, "Look, welcome to our first ever audience. We built a roller coaster." Spencer was able to build a roller coaster because Spencer's an artist, and he builds a lot of like art sculpture. So you're a part of their art sculpture. And then Neville is like comes in and goes, "I'm going to ruin your roller coaster," and then he like messes with it, and after that you start like flipping upside down. Going side to side as they're like, "Oh no, shoot, we need to get, oh no, Neville's back, get him over here, we got to get him back, Neville, don't hurt them." And then you start running into some of Spencer's contraptions, so you're like, "Watch out for the Fan of Hammers." And then the Fan of Hammers, if you don't remember, there's an episode where one almost takes Carly's head off in the episode. He has a Fan of Hammers, and one of them unlodges and almost runs Carly in the head.
Oh my
Runs Carly in the head, hits Carly in the head, and then the grandpa comes and goes, "We're taking Carly back to Yakima because you can't be responsible for her." And then that doesn't happen because there would be no show if it did. But so we have the Fan of Hammers, and Spencer's known for catching things on fire, so he's like, "I can get you guys a way out." So he starts building something, but then it catches on fire, and you see an actual fire. And this, to me, is kind of like Escape from Gringotts-esque.
That's what I was thinking.
Because there's some roller coaster aspects to it, but then it'll calm down and it'll have some show effects.
Yeah. And there's ways to do that successfully. It's just Gringotts doesn't. But yeah, that's what I was getting vibes from it. We could call it the roller coaster. The Rue. Like, Rue this day. The roller coaster.
And the way you get out of the situation is it gets really goofy at this point. They feed Gibby a serum, and he turns into Mega Gibby. Like
that's not. Do they do that? Is it like a superpowers in iCarly? There's no way.
No, this is just for the ride.
Oh, okay.
And
First ever.
Mega Gibby, and he crushes Neville, and Neville just straight up dies.
And there's like a 20-foot animatronic of Gibby smushing Neville.
And then in the gift shop, you can buy feet.
Yeah, you can just buy like rubber feet,
like Dan Schneider would have wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
There should be a reference to the ride of Dan Schneider, and then he just like gets shot.
No, he gets stomped on by a foot till he dies.
Yeah.
He dies in his pleasure.
Oh. That's wild.
Or we can make the ride like the antagonist is Dan Schneider half the time, and he's trying to come for your feet. You have to run away from it. And Spencer's like, "No, don't let him get your feet."
5, 4,
5, 4.
Wait. Okay,
that's the launch. That's the launch. Is
Freddy suing 5, 4, 3, 2, and then you point, then you launch.
I know.
180 miles.
Has to play the theme song when you go.
I know you see. Somehow the world will change for me. Be so wonderful.
I think you could have the roller coaster be like a real cool section where like maybe like a minute of it's like the intro to the webcast, and then it slows down a little bit, and you go on these show scenes, and then it's like, well, here we're introducing the roller coaster or whatever, and you could go on the roller coaster or whatever. Like there's moments where it goes and slows down.
We like, tonight's guest is Jimmy Fallon, and Jimmy Fallon shows up, and they're like, we hope our roller coaster's better than yours.
Hey man, I'm Jimmy. Jimmy Fallon just goes like, ah! There's laughing hysterically because that's all he knows how to do.
Yeah.
He starts just laughing hysterically, and then making one-liners that don't really go great. The Roots, everybody! Hey, 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 hey!
Thank you, iCarly gang, for letting me on your roller coaster. And like, that's your thank you note? Yeah. I was just actually sincere sentiment. I'm not getting work right now.
I'm not getting work right now. So yeah, I guess honestly that's pretty much in totalitarianism. That's it.
In totalitarianism, that's what it is.
In total, that's the whole entire iCarly ride. It's a little more specific than that too. Just like, I feel like you were invited to go on the show to try out Spencer's new artistic roller coaster.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, you have a queue that's probably like an apartment building. I would think like you would enter like an apartment building. And
you could when you enter, there's an animatronic Lubert in the lobby, and he just like screams at you as you go up. Lubert.
Who?
Lubert.
Is that a dog?
No, Lubert's their doorman at the apartment.
Oh yes, yes,
like
yes. I remember. Yeah. Yes.
Messing with Lubert. The episode where they just straight up almost kill him. Do you remember that episode?
I'm not gonna. If you say "Do you remember?" I'm probably not going to.
There's an episode where they on the show they accidentally they mean to just kind of like blow some confetti in his face, and they accidentally just like bring a bomb in. So he just opens up a package and he blows up, and it looks like on the episode at first they just straight up kill him, and they're like, it's wild.
That is wild.
Dude, that show is so unhinged.
Yeah.
No reason whatsoever.
I think that's why made people kept watching and going back to it, is that it's so unhinged.
Mm-hmm.
It was the start of our... Huh?
There's one episode where at the groupie schmoothie, everyone's in a costume.
Uh-huh.
And they pass by a guy in an Abraham Lincoln outfit, and they like give him a high five or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then later in that scene, this guy walks in. They go, "Who is that guy we dressed up as?" And a guy walks in. He goes, "Oh, I'm dressed up as John Wilkes Booth." And some Abraham Lincoln starts freaking out and runs out of the store. It's like, who passed that at Nickelodeon?
At that point, it's like there's shows that just are so out of pocket like that.
Yeah.
But it's makes them better.
It does.
But you're walking through the apartment building. Maybe you're going through Freddie and Freddie's mom's apartment or whatever, and you're going through all these whatever. And then you get
she's doing a fire drill.
Yeah, and you get on the ride, and then you it goes into the main. I guess the recording down. Is that upstairs? Yeah, it's upstairs. Area or whatever.
Apartment 2B.
Yeah. And the ride goes from there. Then of course they have a gift shop at the end and everything, but we'll get there. But pretty much, is there anything else you want to add for the iCarly ride?
I think Gibbzilla is something that the world needs.
Gibbzilla, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Kaiju.
Guppy can be his sidekick.
There you go.
Do you remember Guppy?
His little brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things is whenever he's stuck in the drive-thru with his grandpa in an episode, and it's just like one plot point that goes nowhere in the episode. But there's this one point where the grandpa's trying to order something from the menu, and then Guppy just yells, "I'm hearing the voices again." That's the funniest thing.
If only Dan Schneider was a good person, I bet that would have been fun to work on.
I
If
know.
only if he wasn't such a bad person.
And apparently, the guy who plays Gibby said that he didn't experience much
That checks out
on set.
though.
Had a good time. Well, like, and thankfully, like, he's not negating anyone else's
No.
bad experience. He was just saying straight up his experience was okay. But,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
Mhm.
Well, Gibby, all he had to do was take his shirt off, and that's all he had to do to go to work.
Yeah. Exactly.
Gibby. Gibby!
Gibby, your answer was so bad, we're having you tested. Again?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that comment.
So good.
Yeah, so that's the last thing you had to add for the iCarly ride?
Nothing.
That's it? Alright.
That's it.
So, that is the totalitarianism of that. You know, the two closest things ever, iCarly and totalitarianism.
Yep, in my heart.
The next ride that we have, drumroll, is Wizards of Waverly Place. That's also a really big one. We flipped coins. We've gone from Nick to Disney because those were the two main competitors at the time.
They were
for live action Disney, or not Disney, the live action animated shows. What am I saying? I'm tweaking, dude. Live action sitcoms. There
you go. You got it. You did it.
So I guess I'll take over this one. I'm honestly not a very big watcher of Wizards of Waverly Place. I watched a couple episodes here and there, but we've had enough here to create a ride here.
Mm-hmm.
From what we typed out, it's a wizard, huh?
Yeah, I was going to say I'm not as well versed in Wizards as I am in iCarly, but I watched several episodes when I was a kid. I think I've seen most of them, if not all of them, but it's been a second. So
honestly, I want to talk about this too, but honestly, I feel like you might do a better job explaining this, especially since you know a little bit more about the wizard competition aspect of everything. And so I'm gonna let you handle this one too, if that's all right.
Yeah. So Wizards of Waverly Place, a big crux of the show is essentially it's about a family of wizards, right? The dad marries a non-wizard mother. They have kids. The kids have powers, so they do magic classes. But as a part of the Wizards of Waverly Place lore, essentially, they all go to school, and whoever ends up winning the Tri-Wizard Tournament, which it's not the Tri-Wizard Tournament, if you know that's a Harry Potter thing, but it's essentially what it is. Like, they were ripping a lot from Harry Potter. But it was like this like wizard competition, and whoever won that got to keep their powers into adulthood. And so part of that series was like getting invested on, who was going to do it, who was going to win their powers, yada, yada, yada. Everyone knew it wouldn't be Max. So everyone was like, it's got to be one of the other two, because Max never cared. Max was just kind of there.
Yeah.
But whatever.
He was a little brother.
Yeah, he was a little brother. But he just like... He was like the Gibby of that show.
He was the guppy of that show, dude.
Yeah, like, he just kind of did whatever he wanted to and did not care about any, like, thing else, essentially.
Yeah.
So.
He just was there and did a funny comedic bit every now and then.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a cloak that just made hoagies? I remember that vividly. There was something in that show, was like a cloak or like a blanket or something like that. They would just make hoagies. Like hoagie rolls. Yeah, and they called it like the hoagie cloak or something. I don't know why that just popped in my brain out of nowhere. I felt like that was a thing.
That's in the restaurant they were going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry to interrupt. That's just what popped in my brain. Oh, no,
you're good. Essentially, this Tri-Wizard Tournament, the ride is going to be a dual ride, kind of in a similar way of Men in Black Alien Attack, where you shoot at things and you perform spells. And whoever wins ends up still being a wizard. So, you'll go through your competition, you'll go through training, and then at the end you'll be like, this person becomes the wizard. So a lot of these competitions will happen within what was the Wizard of Waverly Place like competition room in the show. So there can be like dragons, there can be flying on magic carpets, but like you're just shooting at targets and making things go off essentially. And there could be kind of fun like Disney Channel references throughout this as well, since it is a magical realm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't shoot Charlie. If you do, it'll be negative 20 points. Or stuff like that. Brandy and Mr. Whiskers. American Dragon Jake Long. Get him out of here. You know. But it's like a fun kind of, again, Men in Black Alien Attack-esque ride where you can interact with the other car. And
I think it'd be fun at this is sorry interrupting, but I think I'd never seen a ride do this, and I honestly think it would be such a cool idea as if you could hit an interaction point and you could open a door and go take another path.
Yeah.
I've never seen rides do that to where like you could shoot a point and it's like, say it's like a fire hydrant or something, and you like boom, you hit that, the water shoots out and it hits like a grate on the side of like of a wall or something, and the wall opens up, and then the track vehicle detects that was open now, so you go down a different path. It'd be cool if you could kind of go different paths based on what you hit.
Yeah.
I've never seen a ride do that before, and it would make you almost be like, oh, you can make sure to hit that, so you get to go down this other path, or go to experience different parts of the ride. So you can't experience every single part of every single track every single time, so you have to rewrite it. Also gives it variety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
But that's just a random idea that came in my mind.
I think that would work really well too. Honestly, yeah. It would give it a new function, and then again towards the end, maybe you're like, well, if you would have gone through this path, you would have won, but you didn't.
Yeah, maybe there's like a certain path you could go down that has more points for something, or maybe there's like you can even have power-ups. So almost kind of like, this is a weird reference because my video game reference mine goes on almost kind of like Guitar Hero in a way that you battle each other, but you can have status effects. You can just shoot onto people out of nowhere that affects your ability to play the game. So like for example, like if you go down a secret path, you hit an orb that has like a magic spell in it that gives you like a power ability that the next time you see that cart, you can put the spell on the other cart, and it makes the cart like spin or vibrate or like turn off power for a second, then it goes back on. So you can inhibit each other. So it's more like an actual functional game where it's not just like get as many points as you can, but you can also go on the offensive as well against other people's points or something like that.
Yeah.
But also don't do the same thing as Men in Black where like if you hit the end button, you always win. Like that's kind of lame.
Well, it ruins the ride.
Yeah.
It really does. Like, I don't like that ride that much for that reason.
Yeah, because like you hit the button. If you can hit the button at the end and you do a manageable job shooting aliens, then you will win every time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's just whoever has faster reflexes, and I have terrible reflexes, so I always lose.
But I think it'd be fun if you were able to because even in like Men in Black Alien Attack, if you shoot at the end of the ride, they're like, oh, your opponents are aliens, and you can shoot their head light and you can make the thing spin.
Yeah.
You ever done that before?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. And that was like my favorite part of that ride is that interaction with each other. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Having that constantly always available in like this Wizard of Waverly Place ride where you can actually affect each other's ride experience. So that every time you go on it, it's different. And it's not to the point where it's like Millennium Falcon where you can constantly be screwed over because you have bad pilots. It's just like you get attacked by someone and then, it's you're getting movement, you're having fun. I think it would take the gameplay further experience. There's an actual objective, and you're able to almost have strategy with what you're doing. Choose the paths you want to go on. There's going to be give and take for every path you go on. Maybe there's 3 power-ups down this path, but there's not as many points. Maybe there's more points down this path, but no power-ups, or whatever. That's my statement on it. But
yeah. And that makes it work, because also that's going to make it be a positive ride experience for even people who don't know about any of these shows. Because they're like, oh, this is a fun mechanic, even if I know nothing about Wizards of Waverly Place or Disney Channel or whatever, Yeah.
I mean, you can always add it because like it's a weird situation. I've always kind of want to talk about this on this podcast, but the relationship in between gaming and theme park attractions, not from like a theming example, but from an actual ride mechanic. So like these shooter games where you're on rails shooting a whole bunch of targets, or even the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, which in theory is really, really cool, but in actual reality sucks because the experience can be really bad a lot of the times because no one knows what the heck they're doing. But having a ride that's super simple, that's like shoot the targets, you don't need to get a power up, but for people who do know that, they can use it against others and they don't have to worry about people not using it because they can use it. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Yeah, absolutely.
Like if someone knows about it, it's not like it's affecting the whole ride experience. It's like they can take advantage of it, I guess is the word that I'm saying. And then when you go on a ride, it's like, why was I spinning so much? Why was I spinning so much? Why did my ride shut down? Or why wasn't I getting as many points? And they could say, well, there's power-ups on the ride or whatever, and you can find them and whatever. Yeah, but then finally at the end...
It would also add to so much rideability factor.
Mm-hmm.
Because people would be like, well, I have to figure out this and find this and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. And I even think it'd be really cool at the end of the ride. It's almost, you know, like how the giant monster is an alien attack, right? You just hit the button and it explodes. Yeah. Imagine if there was like, you could go in a separate room where you actually have to do damage with spells to it. So like a boss fight or something where like you do it. But the more hits you get on it, the more points you'll get at the end of the ride. So it's like you still have that kind of final boss fight type thing like that alien attack is, but it's not just one button press, immediate reflex. It's maybe you can save your power-ups and use it against the boss. Maybe you don't have to use it against your ally or your enemies. You could use it against that, whatever. Like there's a lot of ways you could do this to where like there's so many outcomes you could have. I don't know. But
yeah. It's kind of like choose your own adventure in a way too.
Yeah.
You know?
But even then it'd be really cool. I've always loved the idea of having separate ride vehicles kind of weave in and out of a world together, meaning that like almost kind of what Rise of the Resistance does, where it like you're on a track, but these two vehicles are going different places, different parts of the same area. But imagine you're being launched and you go on two different paths, but then you converge back, but then you go down two more different paths, but then you converge back type stuff, and at the end you converge, all four vehicles converge back or whatever at the main boss fight at the end. You know, and you have to defeat whatever, a dragon or whatever, like anything mystical, whatever, their magical dog or whatever, maybe he's the boss or whatever, and you can just go like, or whatever. I don't know. I think that'd be fun. I think it'd be an interactive ride that would not only be, like you said, attractive to Wizards of Waverly Place, but also people who have no interest.
Yeah.
You're going to the iCarly for the thrill factor, but Wizards of Waverly Place, you're going for the competing factor.
You're going for the intellect.
Yeah, you're going for the competing factor, like the gameplay factor.
A lot on this ride. Strategy.
Yeah, and it's not even, and you don't even think, there, with how much you do, there's still a good chance if like you would equalize it, so like if you just purely hit targets, you still have a good chance of winning. Like, you can't absolutely abuse power-ups to the point where it's like the other people can't get points. There's a limit, but it's like obviously it's like you would have to figure out what that medium is. But yeah, that's that ride. That's pretty whole covered of it. And at the end, whoever wins, I think it'd be fun if you got a certificate that said, "Oh, you're an official wizard." Blah 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 blah.
And then you have to pay $50 for that certificate.
Yep, and you can't leave unless you pay.
Yep.
Moving on to dining after.
People are like, please, we don't want to win this time. We cannot.
We can't afford this. Do not use your wands. Put them down. We're just here to experience the ride.
Oh, don't shoot that target, Timmy. Don't. No.
I'm $50 out. That's coming out of your college fund. You wanted to go to college? No. The reason why I didn't go to college is because I won too many times on Wizards of Waverly Place.
That would be a Reddit.
Yeah.
That would absolutely be a subreddit.
Moving on to dining. Honestly, this might be a long episode. We're 44 minutes in already.
Ooh.
Moving on to dining. We got a Drake and Josh food court. Again, I'm not very knowledgeable on Drake and Josh. with most of these. But I'm sure you have tons of ideas. So
The biggest idea is a really really big bok.
what are you saying? A really shrimp big?
A really bok. My idea for a Drake and Josh restaurant is a really big shrimp restaurant. So if you guys don't know, in Drake and Josh, there is an episode where Drake is in the middle of like signing on a music contract with kind of a schemy guy. Josh really likes that they serve really big shrimp, and it's a running motif in the episode until the shrimp ends up being kind of a factor in the situation. He wasn't supposed to eat the shrimp or something. But anyway, there's a whole episode about really big shrimp. It's called Drake and Josh Really Big Shrimp. That's why, and every time I see that episode, I'm like, man, I would want to eat that really big shrimp. So we make a restaurant with a really big shrimp.
Yeah, I was also thinking that like a big place, and I know Drake and Josh is the movie theater that they go to. Isn't that a movie theater?
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun if you could have like a drive-in movie dinner experience thing. That's like,
it's not a drive-in.
Not drive-in, but like, you know, I say this because like the sci-fi drive-in, where you go in and you eat food in a car. I'm not saying you do that with this one, but you go into the theater and you eat food in the theater and have like movies playing or episodes of Drake and Josh playing on the theater
with really big shrimp. Yeah, I think that'd be.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. Not saying that it's a drive-in, but saying that it's the same theater experiences of like going to like the sci-fi drive-in.
There should be a side of it though that's also the groovy smoothie from iCarly, because I want to try the blueberry blitz.
Yep, and I think you could literally have like a really cool thing where it's like like one leads directly into the other, so you can get a smoothie and go sit and eat dinner at the Drake and Josh. What's the movie theater called? Do you remember?
Shoot.
I feel like you would know that.
I should. I'm blanking. The Premiere.
The Premiere. Well, then you can go eat at the Premiere and then go get your groovy smoothie. That sounds really good. A smoothie sounds really good.
For some reason, I thought it was the Palace, but the reason I was thinking it was the Palace is because I used to have a theater around here called the Palace that looked a lot like the Premiere, but it shut. It was very sad.
Gotcha. So yeah, those are all of our dining ideas so far. It's just I think those are two really easy ones that we could do, incorporating Drake and Josh, and you could have like your meet and greets with Drake and Josh, and all the crazy characters from what's his name, Jerry Trainer's character, Crazy Steve, Crazy.
Yep. So Crazy Steve, you got it.
I got it. I was like, I looked in the back of my mind. I was like, the data banks. I was like, Crazy Steve or whatever. You can have a meet and greet with him. You can have all that inside of the movie theater as well. I'm trying to think of our next thing we can go here. Okay, this is actually going to be I'll leave that for the last. Actually, we have a new idea that we're going to be talking about. I'll leave that for last for funsies. Moving on to shopping, we have two shopping places for both of like gift shops at the end of iCarly and the Wizards of Waverly Place rides. The Wizards of Waverly Place Magic Shop is a place where you can buy like it's just magic stuff, wands, hoagie cloaks apparently.
Yeah.
You could buy. What else? Well, because you could buy like magic orbs. I'm trying to think of something that would be from Wizards of Waverly Place.
I'm not as familiar with this one.
Me neither.
It's a sandwich shop.
Yeah. Maybe you could even have like sandwich. Like it's a food joint as well. You could even have sandwiches too.
Because their house is built on top of a sandwich shop.
Right.
Yeah. I remember that.
Maybe you could even have sandwiches being sold there, and you could eat different types of sandwiches in the shop and their gift shop.
They had that crazy sale. What was that? The first episode of Wizards of Waverly Place. They have like a 10-minute sale. Crazy 10-minute sale where there's like for 10 minutes people could run into a shop and like buy clothes, and it was like a plot point in the first episode. So maybe there's a clothing store where like a random 10 minutes each day you can just like buy clothes for $1.
That'd be crazy. That'd be kind of cool though.
Yeah, crazy 10-minute sale.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Well, that's one of them. That's a pretty self-explanatory shopping area. Then the next one I have named iPay. I don't know why. I thought it was funny. For the iCarly, at the end, you could go and buy. I think it'd be funny. You could buy replica Pear phones, or you can buy phone cases that look like a Pear
Yeah.
phone. You could
You're actually inventing a company that compete with Apple called Pear.
Yeah. Or yeah, they could do that. You could get like shirtless shirts that looks like you're like Gibby. I don't know, like Gibby shirtless, but you could put it.
We could get action figures of Baggles, and when you squeezed him, yogurt came out of his nose. Do you remember Baggle?
Is Baggles one of Spencer's creations?
No, Baggles is just a bag of yogurt, and he's introduced in an episode when they said that Baggles would be funnier than Freddy.
Oh.
And then he just keeps reoccurring. There's one episode where Baggles and Gibby get married.
That checks out.
Yeah. I can send a picture of it in the chat. It's pretty cool.
But yeah, you could. What else could you buy? What's also very iCarly? Oh yeah, we can buy rubber feet.
Yeah.
That's a big one for Dan Schneider.
Unfortunately, but you know.
You know iCarly more than I do. What else would you want? Merch wise.
You could probably buy some of Spencer's inventions.
That'd be kind of fun.
That'd be kind of cute.
But maybe he could like have like a whole. I could see him having like a home crafted tape, like homeware line where you could have plates, forks, like towels that are all designed by Spencer. I don't know why I could just see that because like Disney is very very keen to homewares right now. There's a whole bunch of there's a whole Disney home line of merchandise. But imagine if instead of it was just basic weird Mickey Mouse Disney stuff, it was Spencer making random crap.
Yeah, in Baggles.
Yeah, and you could buy Baggles.
Yeah. Can you see Baggles?
Oh, let me see. Oh god.
Baggles.
Streaming Baggles. Oh my gosh.
Streaming Baggles is my new favorite sentence you've ever said.
I don't know how this is going to look on our podcast.
Yeah. For people just listening, we're looking at pictures of Baggles.
Search at Baggles.
Yeah. Bed sheets.
Alright, dude, we got... Hold on. Stop streaming.
What?
Hold on. Go back to the two big boxes.
This one?
No, stop streaming so we can have just the same setup that we had.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good. But Baggles...
That was important, though.
Baggles is important.
Yeah.
It looks like the Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah. You know something I heard?
Huh.
Baggles was actually involved in the Plupa 42.
Oh my god. What was he doing?
So, Mitt Romney needed strength before his kiss with Grimace. So he squeezed Baggles, and Baggles shot yogurt into his mouth. And it gave him energy. That's the only reason it was even able to happen. Baggles actually instigated the whole thing. Baggles spread a rumor to Mitt Romney that Grimace was in love with him.
Actually, so Baggles is the midwife.
Yeah.
Or the whatever. Is that sentence top streaming Baggles?
Yeah. Baggles is the midwife. Oh man.
We're gonna have at the end of this whole thing, we're gonna have like a whole like mosaic of like the Plupa 42 happening. It's gonna be like the Last Supper, except better.
Someone make a Reddit, please.
You just call it r/Plupa 42
or a wiki. A
wiki. There you go.
Wiki. We can make that ourselves, and nobody would follow it.
Anyways, we're slowly running out of time here. We got to continue on.
You can buy coconut cream pie.
There you go.
ICarly.
There you go. Buy spaghetti tacos.
Spaghetti tacos as well. Yep.
Yeah, spaghetti tacos. That's big.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of what else we got.
You're also
here.
very good.
Huh?
You're also very good.
Gotcha. Moving on from shopping, actually, we can move on to shows and events. We have a couple here. One is the Hannah Montana stage show. Hannah Montana's pretty big. It's a pretty big one. Miley Cyrus. Gets the best of both worlds.
Yeah. I love the Jonas Brothers 3D concert movie. We could bring the Jonas Brothers on there.
Honestly, Hannah Montana, Jonas Brothers, Big Time Rush could all be a big one. Big Time Rush is later in life.
Yeah.
But you could still kind of like incorporate that all into one, like all music basically themed. There's a lot of music themed sitcoms. So
at least the Big Time Rush show was successful, unlike the Jonah show. Remember the Jonas Brothers show? That was pretty bad.
But you have like a Hannah Montana, Jonas Brothers whole shtick, Camp Rock type stuff. And then you have like a stage show. That's pretty self-explanatory. I don't know if I have to explain that any further. They play music, you listen to it, you go woo woo, and there's a dance party.
Yeah.
Meet. This is called the Meet and Gibby. It's a literal like it's a whole entire queue and room dedicated to Gibby.
I love it.
They have 7 actors of Gibby at all points in time, so there's never a point where the line gets huge. He's constantly out.
It's like Olaf. He never takes a break.
No, he never takes a break, dude.
Yeah.
It's just Gibby all and Gibby's shirtless. It's some like really young looking 18-year-old.
Yeah. And every time you walk in, he'll go, Gibby. And that's all he'll say to you.
Yeah.
It's contractual. That's all he can
And he gives you a hug. You have to hug his shirtless skin.
Gibby.
And then, of course, you have all your other meet and greets as well. We already kind of mentioned that when I was mentioning the theater and the smoothie shop. And this one is
Bagels as well.
Yeah, meet and greet with Bagels, the midwife. This next show is called ICarly. It's gonna be basically you get to be in an iCarly show, like you're the live audience of a live taping of an iCarly show, which is probably something that everyone would want to do, even if it's a show you're not even taking a part of it, but like you're watching one happen and you see insane stuff happen or whatever. Bagels comes in and says something to the effect of like, "You're not paying my child support," and then
the thing is, this is
and
something.
then Nancy Pelosi comes in and like grabs a whip.
Oh.
And then it just becomes a really sensual experience for everybody.
Yeah, happens.
I don't know where Nancy Pelosi came in, but she was there during the Plupa 42.
Yeah, she was. She had whispered sweet nothing into Bagel's ear, so that's what got him to squirt yogurt at Mitt Romney.
Gosh, dude, what the heck, dude?
The Plupa 42.
Sweet nothings. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think about. Oh, and this is the last thing. So those are all the shows and events. Pretty self-explanatory. Kind of rushed through ICarly's stage show, but it's a stage show that you're watching, like ICarly, and they do random events. It's an ICarly show. That is kind of pretty self-explanatory. But the last one is our first ever hotel, and I bet you can't guess what it is. I'm kidding. It's probably pretty self-explanatory. Zack and Cody's Sweet Life of Zack and Cody Hotel. You get to stay there. You get to have the sweet life.
Mm-hmm.
With 2 Sprouse.
It's the Sprouse. Every hotel room has a free bottle of Danimals.
There you go, dude. Danimals. Dude. Oh my gosh, I remember the Sprouse. That's the name of it. Were in absolutely every single commercial known to man. They were in Danimals. I remember they were in a lot of commercials for Pokemon. They were in a lot of commercials for like the DS Pokemon games. And like, look what I caught! It's a whatever, and they totally butcher the name of what they caught. And you're like, what? I remember that. I also remember the people from Just Dance, or not Just Dance. What is that? Just Move It, or what's that one called? The dance one with Zendaya and Bella Thorne.
Oh, Shake It Up.
Is her name Bella Thorne?
Yeah, her name's. You know that now she's just known for being. You know that now she's known for being like a stoner.
That checks out.
Yeah, she's like, I can outsmoke Snoop Dogg. And people are like, bro.
Snoop Dogg makes a comment every year that he's going to quit. And he never does.
Yeah.
I think it's just for shock value.
He did a cover of Last Dance of Mary Jane from Tom Petty.
Yeah.
It may be the worst piece of music I've ever listened to.
But going back to the hotel, Mr. Mosby, there's an actor for Mr. Mosby, and every single time you go to every single time you check in, you have to be taken to your room by Mr. Mosby.
Yeah. And he's watching you, and then throughout the night, you just hear the Zack and Cody like playing pranks on people.
Imagine like you had two really annoying teenage people playing pranks on you. Kind of like what happened to you at the mall you were telling me earlier. But it's constant. It's during your hotel stay.
it's just like Zack and Cody talking about how much they love Fortnite.
They're trying to be relevant to modern day, so they're like, "Oh my gosh, tariffs! Let her rip." Well, I don't know. But yeah.
Tariff this, and then they fart.
Honestly, that goes hard.
Yeah.
Tariff this. type stuff, dude.
And then we're also opening a cruise line called the Sweet Life Cruise.
Yeah, Sweet Life Cruise, and the whole time, like, there's the timed event where it's just called Piss in the Pool.
Yeah.
Where there's just someone pisses in the pool at every time event.
And then there's a time where you just get stranded on an island called the Sweet Life of Being Stranded on an Island, and then you don't leave.
But yeah. That's all I had to say for that. Any other ideas for the hotel?
I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a hotel.
You gotta stay in there, and it's connected to this part of the park, so there's like a walkway that you get to go into the into this part of the park. I do think it'd be fun if you entered the park, or this part of the park, because remember, this is connected to Blu-ray Bay.
Yeah.
We Do It Live is connected to Blu-ray Bay. If you haven't watched that episode, please do. It's also great.
You can berate people in the Mean Girls attraction.
Yeah, and then leave and go stay at a night at Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and get berated by two freaking young kids at night. Gets pranked by saying, "Let's put tear gas in their room." And then later you get to leave and you're like, "All right, I'm gonna go get a groovy smoothie real quick." Good day at a
that groovy smoothie. Except sometimes you find an occasional pair of card keys from. I know. That happens in an episode. Someone finds a pair of card keys in their smoothie, and T-Bone's like, "Those are my car keys," and they're like, "Bro, that shouldn't be in a smoothie."
So yeah, this is all connected, and so like it'd be fun if you entered this park and you almost like went through an old box CRT TV. I don't know, just be kind of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's literally everything. I guess we can go back and rate probability. I'll do a review first, actually. So to remind everyone, we have, this is called We Do It Live. That's the name of the area. Its a theme is just a cityscape that easily meshes well with every single one of these IPs. And we have an iCarly ride that's a 4D, 3D type dark ride roller coaster where Neville, what is his last name? Neville Papperman tries to foil iCarly's recording of you riding the new ride that Spencer Shea created just for you, and you have to stop him somehow, and shenanigans ensue, and spaghetti tacos are thrown everywhere.
Yeah.
That's pretty much that. Wizard of Waverly Place, the wizard competition to see who gets to be a wizard. It's in Men in Black style gameplay, but with also the extra gameplay elements that I've discussed earlier. Dining, we have Drake and Josh Food Court. We have that's the Drake and Josh Food Court. That's the movie theater. That's what I mean. It's the movie theater. That's also in conjunction with Groovy Smoothie. And then for shopping, you have the Wizards of Waverly Place Magic Shop. That's at the end of the attraction, and iPay, which is at the end of the iCarly attraction. Shows and events, we have a Hannah Montana stage show, which also / Jonas Brothers, Big Time Rush or whatever, all that same vibe. We have a meet and Gibby, which we've discussed is just a constant Gibby meet and greet that is constantly that he never takes any breaks and he's constantly available for people to see.
Yep.
In addition to meet and greets in general, located at that movie theater, the Premier movie theater. ICarly stage show, which is a stage show you can go watch where they tape a live ICarly episode and you get to be in the studio audience. And that's absolutely everything. And of course, the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody Hotel.
Yes.
That's everything. So going through that, we can go through probability ratings and the scope of the park.
So I think the rides are pretty low. Honestly, I think if they were to do a Disney Channel, Nickelodeon park thing, the rides would probably be a little more low key than this.
Yeah.
So I'd give the probability of both of the rides like a 3 or a 2. Like they're pretty low.
Gotcha.
The food court, I think, is very, very possible. It'd be like more like an 8 for that stuff. Like the Hannah Montana show, that's like a 9. That's a given. The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody Hotel, I guess technically they could build a hotel and it's called the Sweet Life Hotel.
Yeah.
So like I'll give it like a 6 or a 7. Is there anything I'm missing?
Just the shops, but those are a given with the rides.
Yeah,
those are kind of attached.
ICarly show's probably a given too.
Yeah,
like
the ICarly stage show.
Yeah, something like that would make sense.
The Meet and Gibby.
Oh, Meet and Gibby?
Yeah.
11.
11.
Yeah.
What's the freaking yogurt man? Blabbers?
No,
It starts with a B.
Baggles.
Baggles. Baggles meet and greet.
15.
They said he baggles all over you.
Yeah, 15. It's already happening.
Baggles and Grimace kiss each other live.
Ooh, bro. I want to be a part of that.
You want to be a part of that?
I didn't mean it like
That's
that.
Whoa. Man has r/baggles. Wait, is that a thing?
I feel like it exists. Oh, no.
Search up r/baggles.
Yeah.
While you search up that important comment, or that important idea, I guess I'll go back through. I honestly agree with you. Both the rides are kind of low. I honestly see the Wizards of Waverly Place happening way before I see this ICarly ride.
Yeah.
Because it actually has a solid foundation, more so than I feel like the ICarly ride does, of what it's supposed to be. And so I give this one a little bit more. So I'd say Wizards maybe 4, ICarly 2 or 3. Dining, Drake and Josh, theater, food court, Groovy Smoothie, that's probably 8, 7, 9 maybe, I'd say. That's pretty solid. Groovy Smoothie for sure is probably be a 9 or a 10. Both the shops are given. Hannah Montana stage show, I agree with you there, 7, 8, or 9. The Meet and Gibby is an 11 out of 10. Meet and greets are given. The ICarly stage show is almost a 9 or a 10, I want to say there. Yep, that is everything. And so, I think that is everything that we've had for you guys today. Did you end up finding r/baggles?
No, it doesn't exist.
Dang, we need to make it exist.
Yep.
But
r/baggles. Let's go.
There you go. If you are interested in seeing r/baggles, please like and subscribe.
Yeah.
That is all we have for you today. We hope that you've enjoyed this little mini series that we've been doing. I thought it'd be a very little break from our just random spastic stuff, is that we have a core idea of like maybe this whole entire park and what it is. So
if y'all want a Bucky's theme park, let us know.
What?
If y'all want a Bucky's theme park,
theme park, let us know. That is not too hard to come up with. We'll do it live.
Yeah.
But please comment, like, subscribe, do everything you can with engagement. It really does help us get further and reach more people. Please let us know if you have anything you want us to cover in the near future, or if there's anything specifically you'd like for us to talk about. If you have any ideas of your own, please leave a comment below. And I believe that is everything. Is there anything you want to say before we go, Brett?
I love you all.
He loves you all. You know what you love more?
What?
Yogurt in a bag.
Baggles.